The journey during the last 2 years in this particular project has been essentially a journey of collaborations. And therefore, I have named this particular presentation as a collaborative model for building excellence. We have attempted to see that technology education becomes innovative. It does not become repetitive. It does not become something which teaches us how to copy well, but it becomes something which helps us start thinking creatively. I have a feeling that basically our system of education during the last 150 years has attempted to kill creativity, and it has attempted to ensure that nobody is able to think out of the box. So the effort has been to get out of that particular thing. For GTU, I always show this particular slide first before saying anything else. What our objective is, where we want to go. So Gujarat, as you know, has been doing very well in all other fields. And therefore our objective was that GTU also should try to achieve something whereby we can say that we are the best university in the country and best university in the world. Now, we are relatively a new university. We started in 2008. And of course, our PhD program started only last year. We are also today the biggest university in Gujarat. So therefore, whatever we do is going to determine the state of technology education in the state of Gujarat. We began with the example of the Chinese. They were nearly at the same level as we were in 1985. They started studying what a world-class university should be. And therefore, they came up with a kind of 7-point formula. And we thought that we will try to follow that particular formula, except that we have to follow it under our own circumstances. There it is a government-led formula, implementation. Over here it has to be a collaborative model where different components of the society come together. So that's what we have been trying to see. Now our environment, as you know, is that after 2000, India has been counted amongst the 4 BRIC countries, and people have been saying great things about what is likely to happen in India. But anyway, the important thing is we have industries which are able to compete with the rest of the world, and in some cases they are also able to hold their own in the world. Our young are truly very intelligent. There is no harm in saying that when I meet some of the young people, I find they are even more intelligent than our generation was. So therefore we have this advantage that we have young who are very intelligent. We have a large number of PhDs in our system, a large number of teachers. I have about 17,000 teachers in the system. And therefore it is a gold mine on which GTU is sitting. The only thing is whether we are able to really get gold out of it. So we have a gold mine, but then if you have visited a gold mine, you will find that actually the gold looks like a stone over there, till you really refine it and do something. So what is the status of technology? In 2011, out of the first top 10 institutions, there was not one from Asia. Out of the top 50, there was none from India. No IIT was there in top 50. In fact, our first IIT by QS ranking was at 217 rank. So why is it so? Why is it that we were not there? Well, these are the questions. The questions are our students are not intelligent enough? Is our faculty not competent? What is it that we lack, that we are nowhere? So, if you look at these questions, well, we have a great history. We used to be very intelligent, and therefore I thought that probably we have not yet lost our intelligence. It is true that genetic changes take place, but they take place over a time period of thousands of years. Between the 13th century and 21st, we could not have lost the creativity that we had. And during the modern age also, during the last 65 years, we have some achievements to our credit. They may not be as good as they should have been, but we have been doing something. The basic problem is in our educational system. And this is a challenge which we have refused to meet for decades. So this is a challenge which we have been knowing, but we embrace the problem and live with it. So we thought that we should do something. And so it is that we decided that we will talk about innovation in education, innovation in everything that we do. The first thing that we did was, we said that we must collaborate with the society, because if we have to bring innovations, then we have to collaborate. But collaboration means it is a two-way process. Now, the trouble is, the larger industry many times does not really want to collaborate. For example, our industry has given more to Harvard than to IIM Ahmedabad. Right? So we have examples of our great industrialists donating large amounts, which is very good for education. But the trouble is, most of it goes to Harvard. Why do they live over there? Why do they not come over here? There are various reasons, as all of you know. But GTU decided that we will not talk about how collaboration should be done, we will do it. So therefore, in spite of all the problems, we decided that we will not hold seminars on doing it. We will instead do the job. So how we went about doing the job, let's try to see. 2 years back, on 10th July, I invited many top academics, scientists, engineers and industry people to meet me to talk about what we should do for technology education. We had a long discussion. I had invited them for, in fact, brainstorming. So we discussed the issue for hours. But there were many problems which everyone pointed out. And everyone said very clearly that we cannot do anything about it because the system is so entrenched that changes were very difficult. But anyway, I went on telling again and again, after every description, after every statement, that we cannot afford to live with this situation. We have to do something. But anyway, that was the kind of discussion we had. We also met various people within the system. So I invited even the trustees, who of course would not have much to do with the quality of education, but then they control, various institutions. So I listened to everyone, and then I invited myself to a meeting of the topmost industry people. I was advised that to change the whole system is very difficult. I was advised that I should think about taking about 500 students and getting good projects done from them. That may be something doable. I did not agree with them, and I told them, well, we are going ahead with what we are planning, and what we are planning was innovation. And therefore we started on that day in the presence of those big industries who were not with us. I mean, they were not really wanting to be with the idea, but we said we are going to do it. So therefore we started GTU Innovation Council. Now, there were problems. The problems were that the final year projects are a very important issue. All of you who are in technical education would be knowing that this is supposed to be the capstone of education. after 4 years of study, a student is supposed to do a project which kind of integrates everything that he has studied into something which is like a final product. Now, what we said was this particular thing will have to be done in such a way that it leads to something useful. And therefore we said that it should not be repetitive. The project must be absorbed by the industry. Some of the students may want to do entrepreneurship. And of course, all of this requires industrial design. It requires some innovation in every college, in every polytechnic. And of course, it has to be an effort to convert some of the ideas into something which is socially relevant. So, therefore, we began the journey. The first cohort of GTU's degree engineering students were to join final year in 2011. And therefore, 1 year earlier, we decided to do something. So the decisions that we took, the first one was, we said that the quality of projects must be improved. And for that, what we said was, we must identify a problem which is socially relevant. We must identify a problem which tries to modify and improve some product or a process. So that was the requirement. So basically, we have to identify the problem, then we have to design the solution, implement it through mentoring, and then at the end, of course, it has to be evaluated, as is the practice in all education. Now, the response, as I told you, from the large industry was very slow. Therefore, we thought that we will try to take the help of SMEs. I had the data, and this is what I had presented on 2nd August. I had told the industry people that we have 2.5 lakh registered industries in Gujarat. And there is no reason why 50,000 students could not be covered with these 2.5 lakh industries. I was, of course, told that it is not possible. But anyway, we were determined to take the help of SMEs. At that particular point of time, I met Hiranmay and, of course, Professor Anil Gupta. And I discussed this particular issue. And it turned out that he was doing something useful, which was of great importance to me. So I went on following up with him regarding the results of the experiment that he was doing. Now, what was the experiment? The experiment was that he had taken up some 40-odd problems from the industry. He had given them to middle-level colleges, not our topmost colleges, to the middle-level colleges. Each of these problems had a timeline. For example, L&T gave a problem which they said could be solved in about 6 months. These problems were farmed out to the colleges. And I was interested in getting the results, whether our students are able to do it. And I was very happy to see the result. When he brought the results to me, he showed that most of the projects were completed in a timeline which was much shorter than the one which is proposed by the industries. So this proved to me that what those large industry people were telling me was not really correct, because they were not really hopeful that our young can do anything useful. Obviously, our universities had not done anything useful for the last 65 years for them. And therefore, they were basing whatever they were saying on their experience. So, we were not to fight with their experience because that was the truth. But the fact is, that truth was of the last 65 years. It was not the truth of tomorrow. It was the truth of yesterday. And we wanted to change it, change the situation, so that a new truth will emerge. So, I have no quarrel with the fact that this advice was given, because this advice was given on the basis of something which existed on the ground, about which they knew. So, when this particular truth was presented to me by Hiranmay, I thought, well, there is no reason why we cannot be a success. So, what we did was, we took the decision that these projects should be done with the MSMEs. We did not, of course, ask the students that they cannot go to the large industry. But as far as the university is concerned, we made efforts to create a framework of small industries. So we created Sankuls, 25 Sankuls in the state, wherein we tried to bring all the principals together with the industries, but we did not tap even one large industry. We worked with all small industries. Of course, if a college already has a connection with a large industry, if there is some large industry which is willing to come forward and help a particular college, we are not against it. Let them take the projects from there, from whatever source they can get. But as far as the university is concerned, it made a very special effort to create a large framework of industry-institute interaction on a continuing basis. So this is what we did. We prepared, of course, simultaneously a proposal for grants from the National Innovation Council. We sent the proposal in September. I met the chairman in January over here, and I gave him another copy. We did not get any response. So therefore, by end of January, we decided we will not bother about government. Because if we were to depend upon them, we would have waited for 5 years before anything would be done. So therefore, the decision tree was move ahead without expecting any help. Because we have to do the job. So we can do the job on our own. So that's what we decided, we will not bother. After that, we have not applied for any help. Because if we apply for any help, we'll be unnecessarily using our time and not getting anything. Then the last decision was evaluate the projects through university twice. So we decided that we will have an IDP kind of evaluation, which we are doing now in all the colleges, once at the end of the first semester and then at the end of the second semester in the final year. In addition, we have been having informal evaluations by way of, you can say, an incentive or awards by Sankuls, by various other organizations. And wherever any such competition has been there, we have encouraged our colleges to participate. And the results have been very interesting. In the awards which Srishti gave, out of 14 awards given nationally, 6 were won by our students. NESCOM decided to give awards for the software projects. They were, of course, for within Gujarat. And obviously, because we are a large part of the Gujarat system, so the awards were bound to come to us. All the 3 awards, first, second, and third, came to GTU projects. We have, of course, some other organizations, some other universities also, in Gujarat, which are technical. But then, in this particular case, all the 3 NESCOM awards were with GTU. So wherever our students have participated, they have done well, and they have been able to win awards and do the projects. Their projects have been really good. I must admit that our projects do not show still the engineering skill, engineering design skill which is required. And out students to the industry to have a look and to find out a project. These are just a few photographs of that. And basically the idea is that if there are 50,000 students, then they are going to spend about 10 months on the project. So it is 5 lakh man months during 2011 and 12. And these man months must not be allowed to go waste. That is basically the objective. So we have to do something about it. And we took the help of Techpedia for seeing that the projects are not a repeat. We divided the whole state into 25 parts, and we established the 25 Sankuls. As I said, this is a framework that we have created to help colleges wherever they feel that on their own they cannot really approach the industries. If they can approach the industries on their own, if they can get the projects, that's fine. But wherever they cannot do so, we have established this particular framework. Of course, a framework is as good as the usage you put it to. So therefore, the framework is doing well in some places. It's not doing so well in others. But then the point is, it is essentially meant to help the colleges wherever needed. We have established, as I said, Innovation Sankuls. We have established Odishas. These are the clubs within every college. And then, of course, we have established skills councils for immersion studies by our MBA students and the sectoral councils for mentoring. Now, these are details of the Sankul, so I will not talk about it. We have more or less involved every single chamber of industry in Gujarat. About 500 industry leaders are members of these Sankul committees. Last year, 73% of 17,000 projects were from the industry. 1,900 of the industries have said that these projects have helped them a lot. And I'm told that we have reached now nearly a figure of 100 patents which have been filed. These are numbers, the kind of which, of course, have not been seen in our country anywhere. So there is no university which has filed as many as 100 patents for the projects of 1 year. Of course, these are patents over a very large number of projects. But the point is, this is the first time that we have done all this. For IPR, for patents, what we have done is, we have tried to convey the information very widely. We have done tens of workshops, wherein on Saturday, Sunday, on 2 days, we try to talk about patents, how to do the patent, what is exactly the kind of thing which is involved in spotting a patentable project. Manish Rach, a professor from Rajkot, has been spearheading this particular project. And this year, what we have also been doing is to talk about, so what we want is that every student should do patent search in his area. Before he starts his project, once he has decided about the area in which he wants to work, he should look at the corresponding patents which have already been filed. He should look at the Techpedia to see that his project is innovative. Right? So that is the kind of thing that we have been asking the students, and I hope this will lead to even more innovative projects next year. We have done many other things also for ensuring that the projects are bringing in more collaboration. So there is a lot of collaborative working going on. These are just the data of the last year's projects. This is about IPR. We have some students who want to convert their projects into an enterprise. At the last count, when we did the meeting where we invited students who had passed, we got 137 groups who wanted some kind of help. We have been trying to set up what we have called as a student startup support system for helping these 137 groups. We have also started what we call as IT infrastructure abhiyan. The idea is that a large majority of these micro and small industries are not having any computerization. So what we are trying to do is to see that our students are able to help them computerize. This in a way will be a kind of project for them. Another thing that we have done is we have taken up a small project called Vishwakarma project. Under that project, we have selected 75 villages in the state, and we are taking up projects in these villages. So the project is redesign of the village, reimagination of the village life, and trying to work out how the village can be aesthetically redesigned while maintaining the community life over there. So the community life should be enhanced, and at the same time the village should become aesthetically good. So that is the project that we have taken up as an example, as a pilot, and 75 villages are the ones that we are right now studying. If we succeed in this particular project, then maybe we'll go to all the other villages. There are 18,000 villages in the state, and therefore this particular work, which has been taken up essentially by our civil engineering students and architecture students, is designed to develop a new design for each one of these villages. Besides that, there are a number of other things that we have been doing jointly with various other entities. As I said, one of the major things we have been doing is with Hiranmay, and the advantage of Techpedia has been that it will ensure that it is not a repeat project. It will see that we are able to join together the students of various groups. For example, for the Vishwakarma project, we have sent out MBA students along with civil engineers so that they should look at the possibility of new businesses or redeveloping existing businesses in that particular area. Then again, as he pointed out, it is a relay model wherein even if a project is not completed this year, it can be completed next year. Even a completed project can be improved. And the third interesting thing can be that a number of projects done at different places could be brought together to develop a single useful product. So those are the kind of things which can be done as we go ahead. The more important part is, of course, creating a mentoring network, which will go a long way in improving the quality of the projects, and that is something with which we have to work. There are various problems that we have been having. We do not really provide any support, financial support for good projects. So that is something which is required, and we have to work to somehow obtain this particular support. There is one college in Patan which has decided to provide a small help, 2,500 rupees they give to every project from the management side. But that is essentially to encourage all the students to do a project, and we definitely say that this is something good which that particular college has started. But what we wanted was to provide a greater support to good projects, to select projects which are very good all over the state, and then to support. We also want to provide stronger support to our faculties. You see, there are good faculties who are trying to do some great jobs, but they are overloaded with a lot of clerical work, a lot of other things which they should not do, but they have been asked to do. You see, it happens in every good organization that a good professor or a good person is overloaded, and there are some others, who will not do their job, and they are, of course, quite free. Now, the question is how to see that these professors are able to do the best. And therefore, we want to develop a work-study system. Again, we require a financial support for that. Academic progression of faculty should be based on academic assessment. Today, it is based upon something which is called a confidential report. And the way the CRs are written, the university has no role to play in that particular progression. Even though the university is the only organization which has a focus on academics, which has a focus on excellence, it turns out that the university has no role to play over there. So these are the kind of issues where we face problems, because we have to change the systems if we want to accelerate the process. Support to faculty for international conferences is very little. As far as I know, in the whole of the state, in the technological education area, out of 17,000 teachers, some 2 teachers have gone out for international conferences. There may be a few more about whom I don't know, because they might have got some local support. But the situation is really abysmal. We have to see that our teachers are able to present whatever work they have done, and then they are able to see whether their work is good or bad. Keeping them confined to state is not going to do. So therefore, this is something that we have to encourage. And of course, we have to have something within GTU wherein we can allow the students to come and work. Luckily, we have been able to sign an MOU with an organization here in Ahmedabad, in Gandhinagar, EQDC Lab. They have quite a bit of facility for manufacturing. So therefore, any students who want to do a manufacturing project, we should be able to help them through this MOU. We are also trying that third-year students should be able to have some paid internship, and we are trying to develop projects wherein they should go to the industry and be useful to the industry. So, in fact, yesterday we got a group of teachers who had gone to Delhi at the German embassy to understand the idea of CCA, climate change adjustment. So we are trying to train our teachers so that they'll be able to do these projects. So basically there are a number of other things also that we are doing for collaboration with the industry, because all of these things are coming together to help the whole thing build up. But I think I will stop over here, because this is the kind of thing that has drawn maximum attention. There are a number of other small things that we have been doing in various areas, and the objective is that all of these together should come together to strengthen the system. We also have some students over here who have done the project last year and who did some excellent job. I think we'll try to call them to make a presentation. So with that, I think after this particular presentation and with the presentation of the students, you should be able to understand what we have been doing. Thank you.